Now, it's not just the small entrepreneurs who are seeing the potential in electric cars. Even some of the big car makers have quite extensive research programs. General Motors, for example, and Peugeot in France. And on a recent trip to Paris, Chris Goffey tried out the new Peugeot 205 Electrique.
Well, as you can, or perhaps I should say as you can't hear, this car makes a tremendous difference from the normal roar of Paris traffic. It's the very latest in state-of-the-art electric car technology from Peugeot. It's the result of a 16-year development programme, partly financed by the French government. And it's very interesting because the Peugeot engineers have managed to get the whole of the power pack and the drivetrain here under the bonnet, and they've left the rest of the car virtually standard. Batteries themselves are very interesting. They're nickel-iron units which can store twice the electrical energy of standard lead-acid units for the same weight and volume. And they also have twice the life of lead-acid. They'll take at least 1,500 charge-discharge cycles, and that's around 4 years of continuous daily use. Now, the batteries have a central electrolyte top-up system. You can imagine the difficulties of filling up all these cells individually with distilled water. And there's a single socket here for recharging from a household power point. Well, that's the theory. Let's see how the electric Peugeot goes in practice. Driving the car is simplicity itself. You simply have one pedal to go and one pedal to stop, a normal key ignition start, and a button for reverse should you need it. And off we go. I must admit I've a rather jaundiced view of electric cars. My last experience was with an Enfield which, despite a claimed range of 40 miles, literally ran out of power on a very wet M4 one night, and which, thanks to the weight of all its batteries, gave me some heart-stopping moments on wet and greasy London streets. The electric car concept is very attractive to the French with their abundant and, let it be said, cheap off-peak power from their hydroelectric and nuclear power programs. In other countries, notably our own, power is not that cheap, and the prospect of hordes of electric cars charging up every night is not an attractive one. However sophisticated the electric car gets, and this one probably represents the pinnacle of the state-of-the-art at the moment, it still has severe limitations for the private user. It doesn't have the freedom and the mobility that most people desire because it will only do 80 miles. At the end of that time, you've got to visit a power point and you've got to leave it charging for 10 hours. That means the market has got to be restricted to people with short, urban journeys which they know are not going to exceed the mileage limits of the car. That said, there's a lot of hard-pressed motor manufacturers around at the moment who'd love a market for that sort of car.